Good morning, boys. How are you this morning? You all good? You look like a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed bunch this morning. And how many of you got out of bed at 6 o'clock? How many of you are out of bed before 6 o'clock? How many of you got out of bed at 8 o'clock? Yeah, okay, they're the honest ones over there, I can see that. It's wonderful to be with you here on the Central Coast today and at this great college, named after St Edward the Confessor, and you following the tradition of Edmund Rice, which is a tradition of social justice within the Catholic Church. You are a great college community, a great school community. Here you are on Brisbane waters. The city I come from is called Brisbane as well. And here, what you do in your community matters. I'm here today, of course, to support Deb O'Neill, who is a wonderful person, a person with a passion for this community and a passion for what we can do to make the world a better place. And she has been here teaching you maths in times past, or at least your older brothers. She's been here teaching English and as well as teaching religion. And guess what? Deb O'Neill teaches me a few things as well. She teaches me about the importance of the Central Coast. She teaches me about the importance of making sure that our schools, like this one, St Edward's, is in fact properly resourced for the challenges it needs for the future, including through the investment we've made in your Trades Training Centre in the school. How many of you guys are using the Trades Training Centre? Stick up your hand. Is it good? Working well for you? That's what it's meant to do. Boys, I want to talk to you briefly about you and your futures. I'm not going to talk about me, I'm not going to talk about Deb, I'm going to talk about you and what you can do to change the world and make the world a better place in your community. Sometimes we get a bit overwhelmed by all the problems out there. We think it's just all too much. We think the problems out there are too great for any person to solve. And sometimes, because you feel overwhelmed, we then start to turn a blind eye, as if the problem we see out there will just go away. My message to each and every one of you today, as boys, young men of Australia, and as you go out to pursue your futures once you leave this great school, is that each one of you can make a difference in the world. Every one of you. It's simply a question of what you choose to do to make that difference. I understand that many of you volunteer down at the Central Coast shelter. How many of you are out there volunteering there, making a difference in people's lives? Well, thank you. You're making a difference. You're making the Central Coast better by the meals you provide, by the drinks you offer for those who have challenges finding a job or those who are sleeping rough. You are making their lives better and our community's life better. Some of you in this room will want to be, when you go to university or go to TAFE or work on a continuing basis in your local community, all sorts of things. Some of you might want to be a doctor, a nurse, some of you might want to be a teacher, some of you might want to be an engineer, some of you might want to be a tradesman, some of you might want to be an astronaut. It doesn't really matter what you want to be. The question is this: in each of your lives, let me tell you something about the boys and girls that I meet at schools right around the world. The happiest people in life and the happiest young people in life are those who are not just looking after themselves, but are doing stuff for other people as well. It's a pretty basic thing, because people become more complete and fulfilled human beings if they're not just looking after me, myself and I, but they're looking out for what you can do for your neighbours, for your friends, those who look a bit down in the mouth, those who need a bit of encouragement, or in the case of your Central Coast shelter, those who don't have any food. And so the happiest people in life are those who give the most. Good, I think that was my warning bell. The happiest people in life are those who give of themselves. Each one of you guys out there know what that means in your area of work, what you're doing here in the school and what you will do beyond the school as well. Your tradition of social justice in the Edmund Rice tradition and what you do here locally in the Central Coast resonates right around the world. In the past, I've been the Foreign Minister of Australia, and I've seen the difference that is made in people's lives by the work that your parents put into earning an income, paying their taxes, and the Australian government then investing, through our foreign aid budget in what happens around the world. Deb O'Neill just mentioned before the Horn of Africa, a part of the world which has seen so much war and so much famine. But to be there as a representative of Australia and to know that we are one of the largest contributors to alleviating famine, to providing succour and support for kids who, in the absence of that, would die the next morning, should make each and every one of you proud. I would hope in the future some of you would choose to be aid workers out there in the field, either for great institutions like Caritas in the Catholic tradition or through our own Australian government agency, AusAid, as well. Because what I have seen around the world in Australia's name is people's lives being changed. Plucking a dying infant from a line in the midst of the Somali bushland and desert and making sure that they can be taken to an immediate rescue centre so that they're given straight away nutrition, given straight away water, given straight away the ability to survive the next day. And I've seen the photographs before and after of little boys, little girls about to die, and our Australian hand of helpfulness turning those lives around. I've seen young people with diseases in Southeast Asia who we've helped cure and whose lives we've helped put back on the tracks. I've seen young people around the world who have faced all sorts of challenges in simply getting the most basic of educations. And again, through our aid efforts around the world, we turn those people's lives around. I've been to places in Latin America where I've seen Catholic nuns from Australia at work in the field turning people's lives around. In one community just north of Lima in Peru, what I've seen are Catholic nuns from Australia working in a community as literally thousands of people flee from the violence in the hillsides of that country into town, but with not a skerrick of work. And what our Catholic nuns from Australia have done there is changed their lives by providing safety and shelter, providing a local health clinic, which we, the Australian government, have also been pleased to support. And then to provide these people with an opportunity to begin earning their own livings by providing small-scale loans so they start their own businesses. So boys, what I'm saying to you is you can be each and every one of those people around the world. You can be each and every one of those people here across our country, and each and every one of those people here in the Central Coast. But the message is this: if you're out there looking out for the other person, looking after them, doing what you can to make their lives better, it's not only good for them, it's great for you as well. It's also great for our country, Australia. You live here in a beautiful part of Australia. I look out on those waters through the trees and I say, this is as close to paradise as you get. And what I'd say to each and every one of you as you emerge from this school as well-trained young men about to enter the Australian workforce of the future, hold tight to the values that you've been taught here. Hold tight to the values of looking out for others. Hold tight to the values of social justice. Hold tight to the values of looking after the poor. Hold tight to the values of making sure everyone gets an equal start in life. Hold tight to the values of seeing people around the world suffering and say, that's my responsibility as well, not just everyone else's. Hold tight to those values, because you know what, boys? They're fantastic values, and they give you an anchoring point throughout your lives in the future. Final point is this, and on the way through you can have heaps of fun. I know you're a great rugby league school, so well done on that score. You can be competing in all sorts of competitions and have fun on the way through, but guess what? Putting together a sense of fun, a sense of personal achievement in all the things that you have available to you here at St Edward's, but mixing that up in your daily lives with looking out for others and looking after others in the great tradition of social justice and the great tradition of Edmund Rice. You're going to turn into an army of good right across our great continent of Australia. And you'll know that your values and your opportunities and your skills were formed and grounded here at this great Australian Catholic school. I thank you for your welcome. I thank you for receiving Deb. I thank you for the school for giving us Deb, having been a teacher here so long ago. She's a wonderful voice for your community in the Parliament of Australia. I look forward to working with her in the future once she's returned as your Member of Parliament after the democratic events of tomorrow. Go well, boys, Godspeed, and all the best in your lives and what you choose to do in the future.